buy this shit over here. This is what the podcast.
Yo, check it, man. Episode 4 of the New What the podcast. And I'm here with the co-host. Of course, I'm back with the co-host after having to catch mad Z's during the last episode. Lex Isle.
Yo, what's up?
And today we have Super Jack in the building.
Yeah.
Round of applause. I can't clap right now because I'm holding the mic.
Hi, everybody. What's going on? Yeah.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing, man?
Shit, man. Living, maintaining. All we can do.
Yeah, I feel that.
Huh?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, for real.
True. Yeah, so basically, actually, you know what? I'm going to just let you introduce yourself, man. Just tell every people, for now, give them like a brief description of who you are and what do you do.
Okay, well, hi, everybody. I'm Super Jack. I make records. I've been making records under this alias, as it were, since 2019 or so. I'm about 6 albums in, I think. I produce my own records. On most of my records, I play everything on them, and I sing stuff, and I like working with people, and I exist. Yeah, that's me.
All right, thankfully,
You're a multi-instrumentalist.
Yes, that, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so why don't you give them where are you from, first and foremost?
I'm from Jersey. I spent some time in New York for a bit in college, so I also have some roots there, but my roots are in Jersey, unfortunately.
Where? So how did you get I guess I'm just gonna skip right to the cliches. Fuck it. How did you get into music? Like, what was your I guess like from when you was real young. Like, what was the spark that got you into music? Is anyone in your family? Do they do music too?
I have a couple people in my family who do music. My pops plays what I believe is called like bedroom sitting guitar. Like it's like it's not like professionally, but like Pops plays as like a hobby. Pops is what I call my grandfather. He plays acoustic, so I was kind of surrounded by that. He plays a lot of like old blues or folky songs, that sort of thing. I have an uncle who plays a lot of instruments too, though I don't see him all the time, so he might not have been part of the gestation, as it were. But I don't know, I was really into cartoons as a kid, and I would really love like the music in those cartoons, and I kind of like through cartoons and liking music in cartoons, I got into this cartoon group called the Gorillas, and I was really fucking with them. And at the time, it was like I wasn't really thinking about why I was fucking with them, but I knew I was fucking with them. And I kind of just started diving more into music as I was growing up. A lot of like old rock stuff, old punk stuff, old soul, old reggae, all these different like disparate elements of music, all these different genres, these different boxes, as people like to call them. And I revisited Gorillaz at a later age, and I started to realize that the reason I liked Gorillaz was not just because they were cartoons, because they didn't put a limit on themselves. Like, they could be a rock group, but they could also work with rappers. They could do techno stuff.
Right.
They could do stuff that was influenced by soul music and reggae. And I realized that a lot of artists who really, like, touch my soul deep down, whether they be Prince or Beck or David Bowie or someone like the Specials, like, they also didn't constrain themselves into just being rock or just being pop or anything like that.
Yeah, they didn't conform to one label type shit.
Yeah, exactly. So
Right.
I knew that if I wanted to make music, I kind of wanted to just go everywhere and not like just be rock and not just be R&B, like just kind of be everything in between, you know?
Just be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be, for real. Yeah. Facts.
Yeah. So that's kind of the ethos of Super Jack. Like, part of the reason I'm able to make so many records is that just because I'm not like they're not all rock records, they're not all soul records. Like, they can be whatever I want them to be. So it's like I don't need to bash out on my guitar every single time. I can also do something else.
Right.
You could do gangster rap. I'll produce the album and shit.
That's what we call
We'll get it done.
versatility, though. That's what we all gotta strive for. Or-
Yeah, versatility. If we were to do the rap record, we'd need a ton of features. Nev could be on the production. I just do the hooks.
No, bro. I'm gonna go on like some Too Short type shit, E40 Bay Area type production, bro. I just want you to be as ignorant as fucking possible. Fuck it.
I'm telling you, bro. He's a jack of all trades. No pun intended. You feel me?
Like shit is gonna get so crazy, bro. Motherfuckers gonna think you from motherfucker. You could have like a whole other alias. You gonna be on some cool key shit.
You know what's funny is that I did think about over the pandemic having like an alias that was like on some Quasimodo type stuff, like me rapping with like pitched voices. But I'm not a good enough rapper for that. You know what I mean? Like
at the moment, maybe.
Yo, just pay me in Kaiser like in like weed money to write your verses, bro.
You hear this guy? This dude is sketchy. He said pay some weed money.
Bro, Kaiser don't even smoke.
That's
like,
what I was about to say. I'm like, yo, he's a con artist.
It could be for whatever money. I don't know.
He's standing outside the
buys.
CVS like, yo, I'll produce your album. Nah,
for drugs. I'll make you hit records for drugs.
Yo, I'll make some beats for weed.
I mean, if you know somebody, like, and especially if they're your mans, it's not a bad arrangement.
It depends, though. Yeah, like it depends. Like if it's like
it does depends, but like
masterfully crafted shit, like I'm not gonna just be like, oh yeah, give me like a dub or some haze or some bullshit. Like nah, you, I mean like an eighth or something. I don't know. Like I don't know. I prefer money though, to be honest.
Like if you're producing the record, then he better give you an eighth. At minimum.
I don't know. That's low key some fiend shit. I don't know. I'll just buy it to be like.
You see, I thought we was talking about the legitimacy of
hey,
like
man,
a solo.
I'm broke as shit.
I thought we was talking about the legitimacy of like an artist using like co-writers and stuff in the studio, but now we talking about drugs still. Never mind.
Always drugs. Nah, but no, I completely sidetracked the whole shit.
So good.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I used to, as far as that shit goes, like ghostwriters. Yeah. And co-writing credits and shit. Yeah. I find that many people on the internet, first and foremost, don't always know what these terms mean. Yeah. Case in point, when there was some controversy a little bit ago, and Quentin Miller, if you're familiar with the whole Drake and Meek Mill shit.
Yeah, I'm a little familiar.
That shit still got me hot to this day.
Huh?
That shit still got me hot to this day, bro. They did my son Quentin Miller wrong, bro.
Yeah, I agree.
And he was next up.
The thing is this, Case in point, there was some controversy like 6 months ago because he had a writing credit on King's Disease track, King's Disease 3 joint. And people were trying to say, "Oh, Nas uses ghostwriters, da 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 da," but like you could get a writing credit for just having like an idea for a hook.
Yeah, like
doesn't mean you wrote
like
it. You're in the studio with that person and shit. Right, yeah. But like when it comes to like the cultural side of shit, if you are a person that goes around and prides yourself on being a technical rapper, you cannot be legit if you have ghostwriters. Like actual people writing the whole shit. No, it doesn't. You're not legit as like someone who is skilled with the craft of writing that shit.
Yeah, you're not really the brains.
Like you can deliver it like Dre, in my opinion, delivers his raps extremely well. But people don't look at Dre because he's like a good rapper. They look at him because of his production, whether it's his own shit. He only has 3 solo albums in 30 years. Whether it's his production or his production discography, like who he's worked with and shit like that. Like they see like the complete project because that's what Dre is. He's a producer. So he doesn't really matter. That's people, write his raps. But as far as like, all these dudes that use ghostwriters, Drake, I think Wayne used ghostwriters, Kanye used ghostwriters.
The thing is though, I feel like with Drake, I never in my life really thought like, yo, Drake is up there, like in like.
No.
Obviously, in a sales capacity,
who is it?
Obviously, in a sales capacity, there's no debate.
Jim Jones disagrees. Apparently,
who?
I mean, I know a lot of
Jim
people
Jones
who
disagrees.
think Drake is goated, and I never got that.
Yeah.
Like, but there's no debating. He's one of the most successful and best-selling artists of all time. I'm not here to debate that. I really
that's
don't
not
care
what we're talking
because
about.
that shit really don't mean much to me because I'm not a bird. Like I don't. The sales is whatever,
Right.
Like I feel like for albums that really deserve it. Yeah, that's great. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yo, you can make it to this point with good shit still. You know what I mean? But I feel
Yeah.
like Drake is a pop star at the end of the day.
Oh
he
yeah.
he
yeah.
came from Degrassi, got shot, got put in a wheelchair in the show. They got no the wheelchair emoji. That's the Drake emoji on the iPhone. That's, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I never
Yeah.
ever in my life, like I heard someone put him in the same conversation as DMX. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That makes no
I'm
sense.
like, alright, the
whatsoever.
only
DMX,
thing,
DMX dissed the shit out of
the
Drake when
only
he was alive.
similarity about them is that their artist names start with the same letter. That's the only similarity. Like you can't. There's no, bro. DMX performed in front of the whole fucking world, bro. Like literally at one time, bro. Like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
not even if Drake did that, bro. Like that matters a little less in the grand scheme of things. But my point is, like, I don't know,
Fucking
Drake. I'm never gonna be like, oh, he had a ghostwriter. Like, bro, people write, bro. Frank Ocean wrote for Beyonce. That's like the same type of shit, bro.
Yeah, I mean, like the way I think about it is that, like, if you're like an artist who's producing their own stuff and does all this stuff, if you need somebody to help you out a little bit, then yeah, that's probably fine.
Yeah,
But
there's no problem with that shit.
That doesn't mean they wrote. That doesn't mean they sat there, wrote the bars for you, handed you the piece of paper, and said, "Say this."
Yeah, nah, it's not. Like, they can write just parts and shit, and there's no problem with that, in my opinion. But it becomes a problem, or it becomes problematic when you start claiming.
Yeah,
shit.
that's what I was. That's what I was
exactly.
gonna get
Like,
at.
that's when you start claiming. You know, you start talking about being a lyricist. No, talk about how
Yeah.
your man's is a lyricist and how you flow it. Talk about being
Yeah.
a nice flower. Feel me? Like with the lyrics and shit. You know,
Yeah.
talk about how you flow the schemes. Don't talk about how ill you are with the pen. When in reality, you was probably just writing that shit down on someone else's paper. You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, I feel you.
like there's no problem with that shit. You feel me? Because a lot of dope artists that I still respect use ghostwriters. I'm not gonna look at someone different. Shit, I've ghostwritten 4 people. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
Word.
oh,
that's more back in the days type shit. Like, I used to write mad songs for my homies and shit
I see.
in the studio, but
Yeah. Wow.
not OD, but you know, a handful. But either way, like, I don't know, man. It's people like Drake. That's never gonna surprise me. He had a ghostwriter. Like, I'm not gonna look at him different. He's still gonna
My
be.
man changed the sound every 6 months. There's no way he doesn't have a ghostwriter.
Yeah, I mean, bro,
Still.
he's dookie, but either way, even if he writes his shit, bro, I don't like. I don't know.
It's crazy because like now that when I was in high school, I was all about the whole real hip hop shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like yo, Young Thug, he's fucking shit, dude. Like,
Bring back real
you know what I'm
rap.
saying?
Young Thug got some bangers.
He really do though.
Yeah. Nah, but then now that
Hercules.
because you know what it was for me. My fault to cut you off, but you know what it was for me. It wasn't just about like being about real like in real quote unquote real hip hop over fake hip hop or whatever the hell. It was honestly kind of a reflection upon like a bigger, more socio. What the fuck is going on with my Instagram? Sorry. It's kind of like sort of a sociological thing too, because like, I was the what you would say is the outcast in high school. So
Yeah.
it was kind of also me kind of like rejecting what was popular because I considered that everybody that had who I felt had a problem with me or I didn't like for whatever
Yeah.
reason.
Kind of like
Was
an
listening to
extension
that
of them
shit.
type shit.
Yeah. But then I got older and realized that there's some rappers that I really like musically, but I disagree with on a whole bunch of shit that they've said outside of the music. And especially as I've understood why people kind of think certain things or
Yeah.
used to think certain things at one time based on whatever circumstances, but I still disagree with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I kind of separated since high school and kind of started to slightly enjoy some of the more mainstream type shit a little bit.
Yeah. I'm
Just
not,
different styles of hip hop and stuff like that.
I'm not like actively against mainstream stuff. Like if it sounds good to my ears, then I'll probably like it. I remember, I think around like 2019, I was really into a lot of stuff that was a bit more mainstream. This year, not as much. But
Word.
Yeah. But back to shit like relating to you.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I had to do the dumbass gangster rap shit, and then it just like
nah, it's so good.
completely derailed
But,
off the fucking trail tracks and shit. You know what I'm saying?
But on some shit, I was gonna ask, like, in terms of or when it comes to the process of making music and just creating it as a whole, what would you say your favorite part is of that process?
Ooh, probably, it depends on the song, but like I find that I have a lot of fun doing like outros,
Right.
like doing something really crazy on top of everything I just did, something to make it really feel like, a conclusion, like a
Yeah.
climax, not to, but yeah.
Like to like to cap it off though, basically like in a grand way type shit.
I was debating pausing that one.
Yeah. Yeah, something cool. I mean, like something I've thought about recently is I love the use of drones. I love when a song basically is repetitive and rhythmic about its repetition,
Right.
but I love when it builds up to something really large at the end. You're like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that."
Like it
It's
keeps
like-
developing at like over time type shit with like new elements and
Yeah.
like variations and whatnot and shit like that.
Yeah. That stuff is very common, especially in like really avant-garde rock music or like typical electronic stuff. Just that
Right.
idea. It starts here and it keeps going from there, doesn't really change, but then at the end it's like massive. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Nah, I feel like that's pretty that's like a pretty admirable like kind of like way to look at it with some shit, cause I feel like
Word.
sometimes I don't know if you can relate necessarily, but I feel like for me, when I'm working on a track, I'm like so focused on like I guess like what I would consider like the core content, you know what I mean? Like just like the what I need type shit in terms of like, the lyrics and shit. Say I'm just rapping on a beat, whatever, standard
Yeah.
shit. Like I'm really so hyper focused on that I might really not take the time to think like, how could I start this off crazy? Like maybe do like a crazy intro or, cap it off like how you were saying. Like you're really like keen on like doing outros and shit and like making it pretty like a spectacular, feel. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A happy ending.
Oh,
Or a depressing ending.
yeah, but like something
Noisy ending.
like it kind of like multiplies its presence. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if that's like an accurate way to describe it.
I find
Kind of like make it sink in and like stay there, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it leaves a lasting impact.
Yeah.
I find that when I'm like playing a song with a group, because sometimes I have groups on my stuff, but I find that when I'm playing with people or playing by myself, like the way to start a song is always like weird for me, because it's like you don't want to just start it with the drums every time, and you don't want to, sometimes you can't just come in. There needs to
Right.
be like something. So I find that, and this is an ethos I learned from the producer Richard Russell, who, if you don't know him, he's the founder of XL Recordings, who like signed a lot of like British independent people. I think they signed Sampha. I think that's one of their bigger acts that they
Okay.
have.
That's tough.
But his ethos is like record everything. Everything is recorded. Never stop recording. Because any studio chatter or like snippet of people warming up their instruments, that can be used like at any point in a song,
Right.
especially during the intro. If you feel like you don't know how to begin it.
That's a beautiful point. I think that you noted as well. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like stuff like that is so valuable. Like, oftentimes when I kind of do have the thought of like, okay, this track is good now. I laid the lyrics down. There's some space in the beginning, space in the end, or I can make space, whichever the case is. I always kind of tend to look back for like just, I don't know, maybe it could just be like random clips, like you said, like studio chatter, or because there's a lot of stuff that gets cut out, or like the takes get removed from the track, but you have them somewhere in the files where it's like, before the song, before you start laying the lyrics down and shit, you just talking your shit, or you hear someone in the back talking like, yo, all right, let me know when you're ready. All this type of stuff.
Yeah.
I always like, that reminds me of when I was real young, and that's I don't know if Eminem cleaning out my closet in the intro. He said, "Where's my snare? I have no snare in my headphones." And for a minute, I thought like I didn't understand what he was talking about, who he was talking to, and I thought he was saying, I thought the snare was dead ass like the muff on the headphone, because I was like 3 years old. I didn't know any fucking better.
No, yeah,
And then I realized later on, as I got into like, I saw the studio and I was in the booth a couple times to do some I wasn't rapping. I was doing some other shit. And I was talking to the engineer, and then I realized, oh wait, that must have been what he was doing, because
What Marshall was talking
Yeah.
about.
he needed a snare in his headphones, and they left it in.
Yeah, no, I love when that shit
I'm
happens.
trying to think of other shit like that, like
No, there's
Ghostface. What's that
examples.
song on Fish Scale? Where he's talking to the dudes in the beginning. He said, what was it? It was the shit Doom did on Fish Scale. He did a
Not
bunch.
Melly Bros?
No, not that one.
Huh.
I don't remember, but it's on Fish Scale. He's talking to dudes, talking shit in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's like the real droney beat. I don't remember.
I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the name. But like, it's really
Yeah.
funny
Yeah.
how like these professional studios will have like those headphone buses, and you'll like put it on, and it's like, oh, I don't hear like most of the things. Like you
Yeah.
really gotta like route it from the computer to that little like device. Otherwise, you'll be in there and you're like, oh, there's no drums and there's only bass. All right.
Yeah. What was the?
Yeah, that's a routing nightmare though, because
Yeah.
I barely got my head around like trying to use the SP404 as an effects box with the MPC and my keyboard all at once. Like
Yeah.
I barely figured that out.
Routing is always a nightmare, whether it's analog or digital. Though I do
Yeah.
wonder if it's explicitly harder on digital. I don't know. I don't really use analog stuff super
I
often.
mean, shit. For me, it would be if I can't use the software. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a pain in the ass either way.
Yeah.
That's why it kind of boggles my mind that people like to use Reason.
Yeah, I was looking at Reason a while ago, and I tried making something, and I was like, wow, how do people use this?
Yeah. I guess it's cool if you're used to that or you want to learn how to do that, but like, Jesus Christ.
They have a couple cool synth sounds on it, but like it's really not worth like downloading just for those synth sounds. Like they're not that good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they actually have like a feature where it auto racks it for you. It's just like, well, what the fuck was the point?
Nah, just cause we were talking about like when you have like those
Sidetracked.
little like those little comments like before the songs, like the little remarks. It reminds me of the whole track. He said "Who released the flutes?" But whatever he said. So, was it even flutes on the track? Am I bugging? I thought it was like vocal samples.
I think it was a vocal sample.
Unleash the flutes is crazy.
Unleash the flutes.
Hey yo, go unleash the flutes.
I'm gonna use that somewhere
We got
because
another
I got
one
a
for
beat
real.
with a flute in it.
Call you for real cause you the truth.
I love Jay-Z like ad libs. Jay-Z ad libs are so hilarious
Goated.
every time.
For real.
Crystal.
This ain't Henny
Nah.
my cup, you stupid. I'm from Marcy. So like another question I had relating to like creating music, do you often experience burnout from being creative or just productive in like the music field?
Never man. He's
Well, when I first started doing this, I would tell you no, but I've been experiencing a lot of burnout lately. Although
Right.
mainly the burnout doesn't necessarily come from dealing with promotion and business BS, although that certainly is BS. It's more of the when you're
indeed.
when you're deep into a discography like I am, and I'm somebody who hates repeating himself,
Right.
and there's only so
Yeah.
many ideas the human brain has, which is why sometimes you need somebody else in the studio to either be your muse or like just be able to do something that you wouldn't lay down on the track, if you were
Right.
just doing it by yourself. So the
Yeah.
burnout
Yeah,
I find is
sure.
like, what's the next thing I can do that either I don't see coming or they don't see coming. You know what I mean?
Right.
And by
Yeah,
that
definitely.
you mean like from yourself, like they wouldn't necessarily see that coming from you.
Yeah, like I feel like the new record I dropped, Eats the Mind. I feel like it's very much a companion piece to Hiding in Plain Sight, because Hiding in Plain Sight, the album I dropped beforehand, you know, they were all done under this sort of guise, as it were, like Super Jack, literally, like as a character, like as a masked character. So I feel like because I made basically a sequel album to Hiding in Plain Sight, I feel like I sort of expected it. Like maybe no one else expected it. I'm not sure. I don't know general public reception to my work, but I know that basically I was using a lot of tricks that I found familiar. So the next Super Jack project is going to be a completely different thing. We actually just started filming some videos for it earlier this week. And it's a very, very, very different thing.
Right.
The last couple things I've done.
Interesting. That's dope, man.
Any time frame for that yet, or that's still like very, very early?
You're gonna get it most likely early next year. As a small, like I don't know whether to do. Whenever I do rollouts, I find that it's just not worth it for me. Like rollouts are fun if you're an established artist, but like if you're a smaller artist and you're like, hey, I have an album coming out in 3 months, and here's a single, and there'll be another single soon. People get confused. People listen to the first single and then they lose track, and then they're like, oh yeah, this was for an album, I guess. And so it's just a question of when I finish work on it. The audio wise is done. I mean, I need to get it mastered, but like audio wise it's done. But and once I get all the visuals done, it's basically just a question of like how much of a rollout should I do, or should there be no rollout at all, and I should just drop it like early 2024. Like we'll figure it out from there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But to the question I was asking you though, like how would you say is the most optimal way for you to deal with like that burnout? Like is it time away, time removed in like, you know, one aspect or another, or is there like another way you handle it or remedy it?
There's many ways you could handle burnout. I found when I was making Hiding in Plain Sight, I was experiencing a lot of burnout because I wanted to kind of make sure, like, sometimes when I'm making albums, I don't concentrate on every single song being like a standalone piece, and more like this one can exist within the context of the album, and it doesn't necessarily need to be listened to or thought of in like the singular playlist context. Whereas like with Hiding in Plain Sight, I was like, okay, every one of these songs should be an individual thing, and they're all together, and it's like I'm gonna make this is like me making a Thriller type thing, you know what I mean? Like every single one of these songs is gonna be gold standard, and there's not gonna be any like side piece or anything like that. It's gonna be like front to back, everything is a song, and not there's like, you know, that's another conversation, the difference between a song and a piece, in my opinion. But like anyway, I'm getting off track. So I was making this record and I was kind of burning myself out because it's like, you know, burning the candle at both ends in a sense. So I found something I would do is I would take long drives and listen to albums that I consider to be like, you know, essential albums.
Right.
And I would just like, okay, I remind myself why I love music, and now I'm re-energized into making records.
Right. And that shit is that always hits, bro. That's like a cold shower in the summertime, man.
And something that I've been doing recently when it comes to burnout is I try and like write when I can, and of course you bring it to your DAW or whatever you use and try and flesh it out and make it a real thing, as it were, you know.
Make it like tangible.
Yeah, and once I find something that I feel like I'm really satisfied with, I kind of stop working for like a week or so and just kind of let that song sink in and be like, yeah, I made something that's really cool. You know, live in the moment, as it were, instead of like, okay, I made something cool, and what's next? Because that's very much like for basically from 2019 to 2021, that was how I worked. Okay, I made a song, what's next? I made another song, what's next? And it's like, settle down a little bit, let what you just made sink in, as, you know, you made that.
Yeah, like that's give yourself some time to like kind of really, I guess, interpret it fully, if that's the way, like digest the track fully. know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like even more so, maybe not fully, but you know, more so.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly.
Right. Um, right.
Yeah.
I was also gonna say like I feel like I don't think for me personally I experience burnout too much. At least I don't think of it as burnout if I do experience it, but um I feel like the times that I have, I kind of just give it a little time. Like whether that's like I'm working on a beat or you know I'm writing to something or whatever it might be, just me creating music. Like giving it a little time away, and like you said, listening to those essential albums or you know listening to new shit. I feel
Yeah.
like listening to new shit in a mix of you know shit you've already listened to and you established. You know, I love this album. This is classic. It's timeless. I feel like that type of shit in a nice setting too. Maybe go outdoors while it's nice out. Go somewhere you feel comfortable because I feel like there's really an importance of like having those places where you can really just sit and just relax and just really absorb the space and let that kind of manifest into what you're doing. You know what I mean? As in like,
Yeah.
you know, when you're in certain places where it's like cluttered and, you know, it's maybe not the most organized versus somewhere where it's like very clean, very organized, very comfy. You know what I'm saying? You know, maybe have some
Yeah.
candles lit, whatever it might be. You know, having that correct energy really boosts your creative like flow in a way. At least for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
that's
yeah,
essential too. Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. If that's like the weather's ideal and shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And yeah. And you guys make good stuff. So like, you know, anything you do to keep yourselves like rejuvenated is worth it, you know what I mean?
Right, bro. Likewise, bro.
Thank
Definitely.
you. I appreciate that.
And I appreciate the insight on that because I feel like listening to someone's music and enjoying it is like so much different from, you know, listening to something that you really enjoy and conversing with them and kind of getting that insight of like, yo, you know, I might have tuckered out a little bit while making this, but I did this to kind of revitalize my willingness to keep working on it and keep making it better. I feel like shit like that makes the track hit so much more. You know what I mean? Like you resonate with it a lot more for that reason.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's so true.
But when you mention like, you know, listening to those albums that you feel are essential, like what are some of those albums for you?
Yeah, you know, thank you for asking.
Of course.
I was when I was making Hiding in Plain Sight, and it's funny because I had a list of the albums that I was listening to that sort of rejuvenated my spirit, as it were. Hang on, I have the list because I mean I can name some of them, but like I do kind of want to like be exact with it if I can.
Yeah, for sure.
I know that one of them was "There's a Riot Going On" by Sly and the Family Stone. That's a classic album.
Oh, I gotta peep that.
It's like dirty bedroom funk, like Sly Stone, you know, on heroin, just recording the slowest, dirgiest, funky songs you could imagine, like on like what sounds like a 4-track, though it could just be really warped tape, like
Right.
and like Taking Tiger Mountain by Brian Eno. Brian Eno is like an ambient artist, but his early stuff his early stuff is like really he made like a lot of like weird rock records before he got into ambient stuff. So I love his like weird rock shit.
I might be bugging. My fault. I might be bugging, but I feel like there's a record that I heard by him. Did he make a joint called Did he do drums at all?
He processed drums, but he wasn't like a drummer.
I felt like there was a song I heard. It was called like "Finks Don't Think" or something, but I think that was a break. I might be
Dead
mistaken.
Things Don't Talk. Yeah.
Oh, that was him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was him, right?
That's funny because I love that drum break. That's like,
Bro,
that's
yeah,
one of my
that's-
favorite drum breaks.
I think the name I said I mistook it because I changed the name. Yeah, I had a feeling. I'm like, bro, that name sounds. I had that in my file somewhere. Yeah, I flipped that a while back. Yeah, I love that track.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs. Did you actually sample that?
Yeah, like a while back when I first started producing.
I'm gonna
same
need
shit.
you to send me that. Like, I need to hear that.
If the file is there, I got you, bro. Yeah, this isn't like FL Mobile days. Like
I've tried flipping it too. I'm not gonna say which song because I could get sued, but
Allegedly.
I did recreate the drum track with like my kit.
in
Because I
GTA.
was like, yeah.
Yeah, word. Nah, that shit is a banger. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, nah.
It's a banger song. But yeah, some other records I guess that kind of rejuvenated me. I mentioned Bowie and Beck earlier, also Prince.
Right.
Voodoo by D'Angelo.
Okay.
Dummy by Portishead. The Idiot by Iggy Pop. Mad Villainy, of course, shout out.
Of course, classic.
Joy Division and Talking Heads, also classics.
Yeah. Joy Division. Joy Division is ill. RP.
Yeah.
Is it Ian Curtis? That's his name?
Yeah, that's his name, yeah.
Rest in peace. Yeah, man.
Yeah, rest in peace to him. A record that I was listening to, which I feel like doesn't get its due because everyone is annoyed by like the one hit they have, but like even the one hit's kind of a banger. But like Saint Elsewhere by Gnarls Barkley, that is a banger album, like from front to back. Like just Danger Mouse is goated, and CeeLo is a great singer. Not
Danger Mouse.
L person, but like
Yeah. I was thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, I know someone's gonna mention it.
I was gonna say something. I was like, yeah, he's a fucking weirdo though.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, but Danger Mouse is ill, bro. I still need to listen to the full Danger Mouse Black Thought project. The shit that I heard from that was spectacular. I'm not gonna lie, that shit was spectacular.
Yeah, that's a fantastic record.
Danger Mouse always shows and proves, bro. That shit is always tough.
Bro, apparently Danger Mouse was he was probably one of the few people that was doing like, he was using like acid back then to make his beats, like on Windows XP.
Really?
Shit on the computer. Yeah, I think he still uses that now.
Interesting.
Pretty sure.
That would make sense. He is a very like distinct drum tone. So like, yeah.
Yeah, I remember looking that up and being kind of shocked because I know people like back in those days were using like Fruity Loops and shit like that, but I never heard of like anybody doing acid. Using acid for this shit.
Interesting.
I don't even know. Do they still make versions of acid? I gotta look that up. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up too because I thought you meant like he made the beats on acid.
Yeah, no, I was about to say I'm like the program or like the program like.
That's what I was talking about.
Because like Danger Mouse's
Sony
beats
acid.
Like,
I said Sony acid. I tried to differentiate Sony acid.
Like, I was like, you know, he makes some kind of psychish beats. I wouldn't be surprised if he was on like shrooms.
Yeah,
or
I was
something.
confused. I'm like, wait, what? I wasn't sure. I thought you knew something about acid that I didn't.
No, like some of these, some of those like
LSD.
That Cheat Codes album in particular, the Danger Mouse Black Thought album. Some of those songs are from like 2004. Like they've been like sitting and working on that record for like a while.
Yeah, bro, but it's like that shit. I didn't even know that. I would have never thought that. You know what I mean? Like from the shit that I have heard, it's like certain people can really make a record in any year, and it's just appropriate. And any time you play it, any time you play it's appropriate. You know what I mean? Some people are just.
I'm trying to think of other albums that were like that too, because I know. Shoot, I think Random Access Memories was recorded within the span of 5 years.
Yeah. A lot of classic albums are recorded like in that sort of time frame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That long time frame. Just let it sit. Let it happen.
Let it marinate, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But you throw it on the grill and shit.
Yeah.
Got a marinate.
Yeah. That's real.
But I mean, it really worked out for them because they were not only like, they have such a distinct sound anyway. Plus, they were kind of going back to like a lot of older sounds. So it didn't like date the record. It wasn't like they were dropping a 2008 record like on a 2013 album. Like, that sounded like it came out 5 years too late. They make timeless music anyway,
Yeah.
so that's a given.
Yeah.
Like the chosen few on some shit. That's my goal. I feel like.
Not everybody can do that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you have to possess certain qualities. I feel like.
I think there's a couple songs on that Cheat Codes record that have like that 2010s indie sheen that I think is going to be dated soon, but like it's still good. Like it sounds good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, word. I gotta listen to that shit in its entirety though. But are there any like hip hop acts that are like very influential to you that you would say that are like notable on some shit?
I mean, Jay Dilla and Madlib are like my goats. Like I love those two.
Right.
Word.
Yeah,
How
as do I.
Yeah. When I make stuff that's more beat oriented, I try to, drum like Dilla, chop it up like Dilla, all that sort of stuff.
True.
I would say that the hip hop influence in my stuff mainly comes from producers because I myself am not a rapper.
Right.
On a couple of my early records, I was experimenting with that sort of sing rap vibe that Frank Ocean was doing, but like that's not really rapping. You know what I mean? Like it's like scatting basically. But Doom is great. Q-Tip is one of my favorite rappers. I love rappers who can get a little silly with it while not being stupid. You know what I mean? Like it's smart silly, like De La Soul or Slick Rick or like.
It's like a little frivolous. You feel me?
Yeah. Far Side. Although they were kind of stupid sometimes, but like still.
Nah, I love that fucking Lab Cap in California, bro.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, like another.
But yeah, I mean, have you ever heard of a guy? You mean like a guy by the name of Jay Zone? Cause like, you could tell by like his music. I've been a Jay Zone fan for years. Like you can tell by like how he puts his music together, like and how he weaves like dialogue samples in and out, and like the beats and like he technically picks himself as a craftsman serious, but like the tone of the music itself is just completely comedic and ridiculous. Like you gotta peep Jay Zone.
That sounds cool.
That shit is like borderline
There's a bunch of
satirical.
different albums.
I have that tab open right now. I'll have to do it later.
Word, yeah, for sure.
Oh,
you gotta check that shit out. His beats, dude. As far as production goes, and like Doom, kind of had the dialogue samples going. I never heard anyone use like dialogue samples like Jay Zone. Case in point, if you listen to it's called Trojan Wars. He would take like snippets from old TV shows and like flip them out of context on a twist like. And there's no it's every like he'll sample multiple TV shows and shit. I don't know. The dude's a wizard with it. You gotta peep it, bro.
I'll have to check it out. I mean, I'm looking at his wiki right now, and it's got some cool stuff on there.
Word. And he's also you may be interested in like he stopped rapping, but he does like a lot of funk and breakbeat oriented stuff now. And he's actually gonna be on the Madlib shop in the Mills 003, which is like his library music series, and he's gonna be like
nice
doing
yeah, I'm seeing he's on a Madlib joint, Road to the Lonely Ones. I love that one. That one's so cool.
Oh yeah, I love that joint. That shit is very emotionally
people been sampling his
joint.
drums like crazy.
Yeah, and I always wondered if those drums were like a sample or not, and I guess they weren't. They're the work of this dude. So shout out to J Zone.
He plays live drums, so they just like have him either they like loop his drums up, and they give him like a credit or whatever. I think he actually plays on those records. So like he does the.
I've done that.
Himself.
I literally like before we got on the call. I have a friend of mine named Dottie, who asks me to make live drum loops for him so he can chop them up. So if y'all ever need that, let me know. I'd be happy to do that.
Dude, if you could send me some of those, that'd be nifty.
Yeah, I'd try to make some drum breaks for people.
Word.
Yeah, man.
Nah, for sure, bro.
Nah, but like, back to like, as far as, I'm kind of interested on like the journey of your recording career. Like, how did that start? Like, how did you get started recording, and how did you develop, if any, like an interest in like studio equipment and shit like that? Like, what was your journey as far as that stuff goes?
Well, bringing it back
The nerdy side of
to
things.
David Bowie, I always thought his 70s records especially just sounded sonically amazing, especially the late 70s stuff. And the late 70s stuff is the work of Brian Eno. and I started just reading liner notes, and like if I liked a record, like, oh, Talking Heads, like who does this, like who mixed it, who does that. I've always just loved listening and dissecting how things sound. So when it came time, I was in a punk group called Room 13, and that was in high school. That's actually how I met Kaiser. That's another story.
Right.
But,
yeah, we gotta get into that. I completely forgot about that.
But like, I was just like, I would record us at home in my room with a laptop mic, like the shittiest laptop mic, like the cheapest one that was available at the music store.
I was there.
And
I used to do that too.
I would just like record us all separately, and I'd be like, okay, how can I make us sound good? And there's just a lot of like messing around with stuff and EQs and effects, and just like, this is cool. This is probably like my favorite part of the music making process. So I kind of just, you know, leveled up, as it were. Like, you know, a lot of my early recordings are just mono mic drums because that's what I was comfortable with. And like, as I got more comfortable as a producer, I started close miking or experimenting with how to mic the drums, because I find close miking isn't always necessary if you're trying to go over something.
Yeah,
more
you don't
dingy.
want to get it. Sometimes you want like that little bit of air that comes when you like take the mic away from it a little bit. It's just
yeah,
nice
exactly.
Not as much boomy low end. It's just nice, and it's still got the mids and the highs, but it's nice and tapered off a little bit. It has like that room acoustics.
Yeah, I find, as much as I love like experimenting sonically and getting like some cool like sounds, I find that a lot of my favorite records sound dingy, like they don't sound like they're properly recorded. So, you know, like proper recording isn't always the way. Like not everything has to be clean and heard. Like
because like when everything's, I feel like especially with live music, like if every little thing is perfectly isolated, it's not gonna sound live.
Yeah, sometimes dirty is clean.
It's not gonna sound live because you ain't got no room. You don't got no verbs, like either from the room or even as like an effect or whatever. But like shit, even if you still like, even if like, there's only so much you can do with like the plugins. Like I don't really think you can get much of a natural sound better than if you just, you know, took the mics off a little bit.
Yeah,
you know?
And I find that people abuse reverb and compression a lot. Like, people abuse those things, and it's just like, man, sometimes it sounds good dry. Like, I used to outlaw reverb.
Sometimes it sounds good, and instead of like, sometimes it sounds good, and like all you really like, and I'm referring to me when I say this, like, sometimes I'll like dress a sample up, I'll put like a chorus effect on it, like an EQ and a reverb and a delay or whatever, and then sometimes I just take some stuff out and I'm like, honestly it sounds better without like the compressor.
Yeah.
And just the EQ. Just EQ some of the lows out a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it gives your drums more room to breathe and stuff like that, because you're not dealing. Sometimes you want like the sample to be a little compressed, like overly compressed. It sounds like it's getting like, you know, lo-fi type of sound, saturation and shit like that. But sometimes you just want a nice open, like sort of, especially with like strings and stuff, nice and open sound.
Yeah. Kaiser loves his strings. He loves his string samples.
Yeah. There was one that I worked on a while ago called Epic Strings. I went back to it recently and I like it, but I gotta tighten up the drums. I gotta loosen up the drums actually. They're a little too stiff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always the drums. It's
Dude, I'm telling you, man. After the thing that I always had to deal with on Reaper was for a while I couldn't get like everything I would, like if I tried to put in a drum pad and it would always be slightly ahead of the beat and I could never figure out why for like 4+ years.
Yeah.
And then I do figure out why, and then it was after I bought the MPC, so it wasn't like it really mattered anyways.
Yeah, I get you.
So it's never gonna. I just wish I had a nice set of live like actual drums to just mic up and get like recordings of that, because that would help me out a lot.
Yeah, I'm very thankful to have my little drum kit. When you guys are making stuff, like, do you ever get tired of a certain element that you just stop using that element for like a little bit, or at least not as heavily?
I would say for me, yeah, it's happened before, but I try not to do that anymore just because I try to think of it like this. say when I'm making a beat, there'll be certain things, like say it's a sample that I have, I chopped it, loop it. You know, the beat making process, even if you're proficient, that shit could take a little bit of time, whether it's inputting drums or, you know, if you're quick with inputting drums, you know, mixing it and shit. I feel like me, for the most part, my longest time spent is mixing it. So, I feel like certain parts of looping while I'm mixing it, OD, just annoying as fuck. Like it just, especially if it's like a higher pitch and shit. It's like I don't want to hear this no more. I don't want to pick it up tomorrow. I want to finish it now. You know. So sometimes I'll be like, all right, maybe I'll just change the pitch for now, or you know what I mean, just change it a little bit so it's more bearable, or maybe just, you know, isolate the drums and shit, turn it off, whatever it is. Sometimes I've just completely deleted shit. But like,
I'm sure
I try to thug it out.
I'm sure I've had like moments like that, but I can't really recall anything where I was like. There was one thing that I used to. There was a while where all the beats I was making was in the same key, and that really bugged me. And I stopped doing that. But that was that was a little worrisome when I had like 15 beats in the exact same key.
Nah,
because I was only looking for samples in that key range. I'm like, okay, no more. What was it? I think it was F flat. I don't remember. Anyway, nah, G flat. I'm tripping. I don't remember. Anyway, never mind. It doesn't matter.
But like with that though, I kind of try to think to myself, like over time, I've kind of grown to think like, all right, let me just thug it out, cause this shit's probably gonna sound fire when I really just give it a little more time. I'll just bear with it. You know, I'm gonna make this something worth the time and the, you know, I guess the burden a little bit.
That kind of reminds me of some other shit too, because sometimes like when I'm going to sample some shit, sometimes I'll do like I'll flip it in a certain way, and just because it doesn't have anything on it, and it may sound like jarring because like say it's like very choppy sounding or whatever, but when it's by itself, it's not like the drums, and like in a lot of those beats, like the drums kind of obscure sort of like maybe like the choppy sound you may have your samples going. And I've been trying to like keep those, you know, flips, because a lot of times if you throw drums behind that shit and a bass line, it still comes out fire.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. But another question I had was, so far in your career, because obviously you're not done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
Hopefully that's not anytime soon. But I wanted to ask, like, in your career so far, have you achieved any goals that you had in your mind, or milestones that you set, that you've reached, that were like very notable for you?
Oh yeah, I mean, the first time I did a show with the group that was backing me up, that was an amazing moment. Whenever I drop an album, it feels like that's an amazing moment. Like, you know, because really, like, that's what I wanted to do, was make a record that was mine, that I produced, and, you know, something I'm proud of. When me and my label started making CDs for my work, that was something I was incredibly proud of. When we did a show. And when we did a show to a packed crowd in a basement a while ago, and we got paid for that, that was great. Like,
man, shit like that, man.
Yeah, and we're still going, and we still have places to go, of course. But
yes, sir.
Right.
For surely, man. It's only up from here.
I did one live show back when I was trying to rap and shit, and it was for a talent show and shit, man. But that was the only shit I ever did, like musically performance period. Like I haven't DJ'd yet because there's really no opportunities around here. But I definitely really want to do that.
Right.
That's a goal of mine for sure. Period. Like even like obviously it'd be cool to DJ to a packed crowd, but man, just doing it. Period. It's something that I want to do.
Yeah, and like that kind of leads me into my next question. Kind of goes with that the last one I asked. But are there any like milestones or goals you want to achieve, either long or short term?
I would love to go on a tour, like a tour where it's not like we're slumming it trying to get ourselves out there. A tour, it's like, we're gonna go to the middle of America or a different country, and there are people who know the stuff and want to hear what it is that we're doing. And also, I would just love to make a record with, like, I know I'm a producer, but I would love to make a record that's co-produced by somebody I admire. I mean, that's very much like a big fantasy goal. I'm not sure if we'll ever get there, but like,
if you could do a record, who do you think is the most, like, out of all of them, who do you think is the most realistic, like, you'd be able to do a record with, or you'd let do a record for you?
Well, I'd love Eno, but like Eno's not very realistic because he's old.
Yeah.
That's a hard.
Respect to the God though. He made the Windows 95 sound. He's goated.
That's so true. That's a hard question because a lot of my favorite producers are like, are either older or semi-retired. Like, like I'd love to make a record with Madlib, but like I don't know if I'm ever gonna make a record with Madlib. Like,
Nah, I can see it happening, man. You feel me?
All you gotta do is have the right connect, man. It could probably happen.
You never know who knows who. You never know who's listening to your shit. So
yeah,
I mean, all it takes is one person that knows him or whoever it might be to be like, yo, son, dope. And I can see that happening very much so.
If you get a record with him, though, you gotta make him rap.
I was gonna say if I ever got a record with him, I gotta get all y'all as features on certain songs. Like,
nah, you real though. That's real, bro. I love his rapping, bro.
Wolf, where's my check?
I love the Quasimodo records. I wish he would do more of those. Like,
even when he was just rapping on some like just regular Madlib shit, like that was special. You know what I mean? Like that's some shit we're probably never gonna get again. Like on a major scale, Like that shit was special.
Cause bro has such an ill voice, and he's like, I don't really like
and his flow too. I think his flow mixed with his voice, it was different.
His flow is ill too.
Yeah,
bro, cause he's like real smooth with it and kind of like jazzy behind the beat.
Oh, looking at me. Oh, looking at me.
He said, what he said, hitting hookers. Nah, that's not a good example. Nah, but
you know what I'm saying? Like he was just real jazzy with it.
Yeah, he's dope, man. Yeah, bro.
He's so good, man.
Even with the cuts, he's nice with the cuts too.
Right. But
Show Discipline 99. If you know, you know.
Bro, got joints. But
yeah.
I was wondering, like, if any, do you have any advice for, say, an artist that's pursuing something similar to you that's coming up, or maybe is at the same level you're at?
I would say whatever circle you have right now, if you feel like you can trust them, keep them.
Right.
But if you feel a sort of discontent that's not just in your head, then you might wanna go on making some cuts. But really, the main thing that I want to say here is that always follow your whim, because you're gonna like if you're doing the same thing I'm doing, where you're kind of not really in a genre, which makes it so that you're not in a local music scene, you don't really fit in any particular thing. You just kind of are you. Don't question that. Like, you're gonna question it, and I can't stop you from questioning it. But like, don't question it, because you're gonna be doing something that's cool, and you always got to follow your creative whim and not what the popular conscious is or the local conscious, or just like just any of that. You just got to always follow what it is you want to do, and make sure that you make the time for it, but that you also give yourself the time.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Make time for the things that make time for you. For me.
You're saying don't have kids? No, I'm playing.
Nah, I got it.
I mean, I don't know if I'm ever gonna have kids, so that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, I mean,
but
my genes are too fucked up.
But
I got the cursed genes.
Oh man. But But I was gonna say something.
Nah, I just wanna be on the NPC all day. I don't want no children.
I'm crying.
My NPCs, my Corona, fucking Shit,
Nah, no free
shit, a lifetime
promo.
supply of flaming hot nacho cheese Doritos.
No free promo.
I'm straight.
Nah, but I was gonna say kind of
Sponsored by.
yeah. Honestly, yo, any sponsors, yo,
This podcast is being sponsored by Mountain Dew.
we gonna get the good sponsors. But I kind of wanted to add on to your point because I like what you said. That for you, for example, you don't necessarily fit into one or conform into one scene or genre, so you're not necessarily stuck in one place. Like you might kind of be the odd one out in multiple scenarios. And you were saying, don't question it. You know what I mean? You might question it. I was gonna kind of add on to that. Like if you do question it, question more so like, damn, what can I do next? Like, where can I go next with this shit? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's not gonna necessarily be from A to Z overnight. It could be. You know what I mean? The way shit is now with,
Right.
just the way everything coincides with social media and how networking is now and how fast someone could just become a superstar or a phenomenon. Just kind of be willing to just, thug it out. You know what I mean? Just stay down. You can still progress. You don't have to go up instantly. You're not going to always notice, exponential growth. But just, it's any step is a step in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
step
You know what I'm
into
saying?
stuff.
Like if you step with your best foot, it's always gonna be in the right direction. You know what I mean? So I would say just
Word.
don't question why you're doing it necessarily, but more so, or don't let that kind of weigh you down. Don't let that be like the hole in your boat on some shit. But more so like
Yeah. That's real. Yeah.
just kind of consider like, damn, I can do something, because I feel like the toughest thing as an artist to have or attain is taste. Knowing what you like, knowing how you want your shit to sound. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
if you kind of find yourself in that space where you're not really in one genre or another, or that's something. You know what I mean? You know that you're doing something where you're not necessarily in just the most
Yeah.
concrete lane. You know what I mean? That's something. That's a starting point. So just kind of establish on that. It doesn't have. You don't have to have 1,000 people with you in the studio or in the music videos. All you really need is who you have already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Most times you don't really need anyone you don't have already. Not all the times. Not all the times. Just to be a little general, but
my circle probably won't be that much different within the next year. I mean,
Yeah.
the only one that really got regularly like that.
yeah, exactly, man.
is,
Like,
a regular participator in the circle is, you, Jack, because I met you within the last year. So after Kaiser has been telling me about you for a couple years. Speaking of Kaiser,
Yeah.
shout out to Kaiser.
Shout out Kaiser. Shout out
Hell
you
yeah.
guys, for real.
you were
Shout out to
likewise, bro.
Kaz.
Appreciate it. Shout out to Super Jack. Shout out NevEd, man. Shout out me.
Shout out Lex Isle.
Man,
Shout out
appreciate you.
ourselves.
Big up.
We are good.
big up. Big up. Or big up. But
We the best.
facts. Like I also really I really appreciate the one thing you said about, having people around you that you trust and just keeping them around, because that's so pivotal, because I feel like sometimes we take for granted having really thorough and solid people around us, because not everybody has that. You know what I mean? As much as we
Yeah.
feel like everyone is entitled to that and should have that, just off the strength of, we're humans, you know what I mean? We all kind of, most almost, all people deserve someone good to hold them down and shit. You know what I mean? Like, not everyone has that, and some people really have to maneuver through this shit on their own. So if you have people, he's a clown. If you have people that hold it down, they don't gotta be giving you 10,000 every day. Something is something.
Yeah.
People just being there to hear you record and just give you input. They don't gotta be doing all this extra shit. Y'all gonna get there when y'all get there. If that's what's meant to be for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Not on some destiny and fate shit, not to get, spiritual, whatever, but you know what I mean? If y'all really put the work in and y'all really have a love for this shit and a trust and respect for each other as, friends and also as peers in this music shit, like, y'all gonna go somewhere. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
might not even
No,
be
yeah.
where you expect to, but you're gonna go somewhere if you, you're persistent and you persevere, because you can't
Yeah.
always expect all the shit that's handed to you, but you got to be able to deal with it either way. So
No, yeah,
I feel like
that's real.
I definitely like that you made a point of that as well though. I shit like that is definitely pivotal, and going somewhere
but I
with
was
it.
gonna ask, how did you end up meeting Kaiser?
I met Kaiser, and I guess people who listen to your podcast are familiar with who Kaiser is, so I don't need to explain that.
He was on the last He was on the last episode with Inspector K.
I met Kaiser. I had this group called Room 13, and we sounded pretty good. I wanted us to be the sort of genre-bending figure that I became and am, but we more so just kind of wanted to be a punky, rocky group. So, but like in that sort of time period, this dude named Kaiser Unique followed us on Instagram, and I was like, oh, I've seen this dude around, like in school before. So I just hit him up after listening to the thing that was on SoundCloud, which I think was called 85 to 15. And I was listening to that, and I was like, yo, we should make a song. And he was down. And in typical Kaiser fashion, it was like a month or so before I ended up getting the verse back. But I got the verse. And
shout out to Kaiser.
Shout out Kaiser.
Should be worth the wait though. Word.
Yeah. And yeah, it was great. Like I sent him this beat. The song's called Mind Matter. He doesn't really like the verse, so I feel kind of weird like plugging the song, but I'm going to plug it anyway because it's our first one.
Right.
And I sent him this beat, and it was just this long 3.5-minute beat. And I was kind of like, he's not going to use the whole thing. He used the whole thing.
Yeah, no, he's like that. He's built like that. He's built like that, for real.
Yo, I'm taking the light.
Yeah.
I'm crying.
And so, like, it ended up being that, like, it was, like, 3 separate songs that I stitched together to make, like, this 6-minute piece. And
that's smart. That's smart as hell.
So, and it was cool.
That's resourceful.
And we started doing these shows together, and we just started hanging out more. And, Room 13 was going to get on the major streaming platforms because me and my friend Miles, shout out Miles, we was getting a DistroKid up. And I was like, yo, we can do a label thing. Let's see which one of our friends wants to, get in on this with us. And Kaiser is one of the few friends from Ground Zero who stayed with the Studio Suzuki Collective. He's still in it. And, dude is basically, that tour that I was basically doing from February to July, like he was at most of those shows. Some of those shows he also did his own set on. And,
Right.
Just like he's a really cool dude, and I'm just happy to know him.
Yeah.
We have a couple songs together with Superjack. Blue Screen is one of them. He'll be more happy that I shouted out that one as opposed to Mind Matter, which is a better song. So like I'm not gonna Blue Screen, and the other one, Sit Down and Rewind, which was a leftover from the Hiding in Plain Sight sessions that just didn't end up making it to the record in time because like the record was already like 46 minutes, and I felt like there's the 50-minute record's probably too much to ask.
Yeah.
So like
I'm glad you're not one of those dudes that like, bloats their shit, you know what I mean? Like people just stretch their shit to like, I mean, shit, now that we got streaming, you don't got to worry about CD
Yeah,
no more.
nah. It's like when the teacher like give you an assignment at school, it's like, oh, you have to have like this minimum words. You just finding like any like reason to just put bullshit words, just make a sentence longer, like on some shit like that. Yeah.
No, but yeah, he's great. We're I'm hoping that we put out his next thing soon. He has stuff. I'm not gonna give more details than that because it's not my liberty to do so. But he has stuff, and we're hoping to get something out soon.
Word.
Word, yo, come on, guys. The culture needs it.
Facts.
The streets need that, bro. Give us the jewels, man.
Man, facts, bro. We actually got some shit coming too with Kaz, me and my boy Nev and shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We got a joint.
Rhythms and blues.
Yeah.
I don't think we talked about that much in detail on the on here yet. So by the time this episode is out, that album will have been going to mastering.
Oh, nice.
The last track should be done being mastered, is what I mean, because we only have about one left. So basically, Rhythms and Blues is this project. It's sort of like Alchemist and Conway style. where I'm producing and he's rapping, and there's some features. Kaiser's a feature on a song called Octane.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Kai Advanced is a feature on the song called Time That We Got. Void, shout out Void. He's a feature on Watch This. I'm trying to do more joints with Void. I'm trying to get Void on the podcast. We're
gonna do that though. We're gonna do that. Shout out Void.
We're gonna
I've
do
never,
that because that's necessary.
I've never met Void,
But
but I know that Kaiser has a song that he wants both me and him on. I don't know when that's gonna happen though.
Where nah, he's a good dude. We used to chop it up. He got real busy because he had a kid and had to work a couple more jobs and shit like that.
Yeah.
So we used to chop it up in my server about all kinds of stuff. He's a real solid dude.
Yeah, he's solid.
And he's got little bars and shit. There's a joint I'm trying to get done with him and the Phantom actually that would come out really great. Yeah. I just need his vocals.
I'm happy to have met you guys through Kaiser. I'm happy to,
Yeah, I mean, one thing I remember, and not that it really bothered me necessarily, but I remember asking him like, "Yo, bro, give us like the hook us up, like send him an invite to this server." You know what I mean? And then you ended up following me on Instagram. Whoa, hold on.
Whoa.
Windows noise. That was not nice. Anyway, so you follow me on Instagram, and I'm like, oh shit, I know who this is, and I just decided to hit you up on a whim, like, yo man, what's up? Do you use Discord? And then I just invited you into the server and introduced you to everybody.
Yeah. It's real cool. Thanks for that link. I have stuff with Advanced. I think 2 songs. Like you mentioned him earlier. I don't know when or where that's coming, but that
pause.
Yeah. At some point, I want to make an EP with Dude, but it seems like Dude is a little busy. So if I end up getting a collection of tunes that fits with at least one of those songs before that happens, I might ask to slide it on. But I would love to do like a little Super Jack Advanced collab thing.
Yeah, that's my guy, bro. That's the bro right there.
Stuff is crazy, and that was another Kaiser suggestion, because like every once in a while I'm sick of producing. I want somebody to make the beat for me and I can just sing on it. And then Kaiser was like, you should hit up Advanced. He probably has stuff. And I was like, okay, I shall.
He be having shit. He really be having shit. He never lied about that.
Nah, Kaiser Stinger with the loops, man. Yo.
Nah, man. He be blessing it too. Man? He be blessing it, man. Kaiser's another producer that's also really dope to me. Definitely do some more shit with him. Definitely. I need to get on some of his production as well. I feel like I don't know, he's in that pocket. It's really dope. I feel like he really is the loopsmith. Like he never lied about that. Like he's really the loopsmith, bro. I really appreciate his work, and it really resonates with me on a deep level.
There's a record that he sent to me to beef up that I want to use somewhere. So I'm trying to get the original sample from him because I want to redo it a little bit.
I have one
he hasn't
song.
Used it.
That's not out yet that I like. It's his production, and I like just sang over it. It's a great tune. That's another one like the Advanced stuff where it's like I'm trying to find a proper home for it. You know what I mean?
Right. Nah, for sure, bro. Yeah, we gotta get some joints in too. I'm not gonna lie. I fake. Obviously, we can talk about this more after and shit, but had a few ideas and shit.
You could. There's a beat. There's a beat you have that you played for me the other night that I think you would sound fire over. You gotta show me which one it is and shit after this. I definitely.
You gotta send me that one thing.
Yeah, I know. I gotta send it to you.
But
I gotta send you that one thing.
But anything you're working on now that you haven't mentioned or mentioned already that you wanna just put out there and shit.
Well, I'm producing for a couple of different projects right now. Again, like those stuff's not my liberty to say when and where things are. So it's like that's happening. My record, which I mentioned earlier, which I'm in the middle of shooting the visuals for, that is going to be a very different thing. It's probably going to be a bit more guitar heavy than some of the more recent stuff I've been doing recently, and it's going to be very, very interesting. It'll probably be out. Actually, I'm not even going to say all that. It'll be out.
Yeah, so
at some point.
It'll be out when it drops.
Yeah, so since you can't really disclose those details too much, where can the people find you on socials to stay updated?
They can find me on Instagram, Superjack Attacks, one word. That's kind of the only social media that properly app updates my stuff. I have a website which you can probably find somewhere. Yeah, it's a NeoCities website. There's an email list if you're old school and you want to be updated through emails.
NeoCities website. Let's go to.
You can find my stuff on all the streaming. I don't really do the thing where it's like there are certain things on platforms and certain things not on other platforms. Basically, all of my platforms, except for maybe SoundCloud, have everything of mine on the page. So like, go check me out.
Okay.
Yeah, and especially the Bandcamp. Bandcamp's got everything.
Oh yeah, the Bandcamp has even more stuff. If you purchase my records, you get like free little visual poster stuff, short videos, little bonus tracks. Like they're surprises for people who are Bandcamp listeners.
Hell yeah, y'all know what to do. Go, you know what I'm saying? Go run that shit up, man. Listen to some good music. Treat yourself. Don't cheat yourself. Remember I said that.
Hell yeah, that's the gospel, bro.
Yeah, man. But yeah, man. This is a dope convo, like always, bro. Appreciate it. Appreciate your energy, man. Can't wait to see what you do in the future, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you both having me on.
Oh yeah, man.
Sure, man.
We all need definitely be in each other's future musically for sure.
Nah, of course, bro.
Hell yeah.
Surely, man. But yeah, bro. Appreciate your time, man. Anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
Just that I'm happy to be on here. If you're listening,
thank you for coming on here.
If you're listening from the East Coast area and have a desire to see me in person, I most likely am going to be gigging at a place near you, or already have, because that's where I'm from. So if you want to know about that, you should stay updated on the socials or my website or something.
At Superjack Attacks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just check out the music if you're not from the East Coast and you're like, I have no desire to travel to the East Coast.
Or if you're really dedicated, just drive out here.
Yeah. Come out to a show. Like, hit me up that you drove out to the show, and I'll I'll do something for you.
Yeah, I'll buy you he'll buy you a sandwich.
Yeah, no, I'll do it.
Box of bogeys and an
Nothing wrong
eighth.
with a sandwich. But
Word, man. But yo, appreciate you, man. It's a dope convo, like I said. And yeah, man. Shit, man.